have these adorable little bubbles, or pearls as Caramel calls them. I thought it'd be fun to just play and put them on the nails. Okay, we're going to start by buffing this nail and getting a nail on here. Got my little tiny mini bits that I'm using. These are great. I like these for educating because you can really see where the edge that you're using, this little tip right in there, exactly where it's going. Okay, just going to give that a little dust off. Then we're going to use our bridge, which is our adhesive for our tip. We're going to use a tip. We're going to use a long coffin tip. A quick tip for adhesive, for this particular adhesive, you massage it in. And I like to do it kind of like in little circles to make sure it gets everywhere. Okay, and then just give that a 60-second cure. Okay, let's get our tip. We're going to select a tip from my collection, and we're going to use the coffin long. And clearly I want to go for long on this because I want to get as much nail estate as possible. Okay, this one fits pretty good. It's a bit on the bigger side, but better to go a little bit smaller. And I'm going to scoop out some of my Susie's Pink Mix. It's an easy gel product. I love this. It's hybrid gel. I love it because it's kind of opaque, and that's what you want a little bit. I'm just going to do it the real quick way, and I'm just going to use the tip to scoop. That's about the right amount by the time I squish it down. So I'm just going to get a little bit of alcohol on my brush and make sure there's not too bulky on this end. And I'm just going to flatten it a bit toward the finger so it doesn't squish out the ends. Okay, so I'm going to put this on and slide it down to squish it out the end of me nail. And then I'm going to nuke it. Okay, before you start sticking anything on there, you want to buff that surface because remember, gel does not stick to a shiny surface, a smooth surface. It's got to be roughed up a little bit. So I'm using my sanding sponge, and it's a really nice smooth tip. I mean, you could just polish this right now if you wanted to, but we want to get some stuff on there. So I'm just giving this a nice, gentle buff because I'm just going to cover this whole thing. Okay, now that's all buffed up. I am going to dust it off. Okay, now I need something to secure my bubbles or pearls. Caramel and I can't decide. I'm calling them bubbles, but he thinks he prefers to call them what?
I think they look like pearls.
Well, they do. There's no argument there. They really do.
Not real pearls.
No, goodness.
How about sphericals? Spheres.
Why do you have to make it so much more difficult than it actually is, though?
That's what I do.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is get some gel. I'm using my Susie's Gloss Gel because it doesn't have to be clear. Well, it doesn't hurt, but it could be a little opaque if you're using it in an easy gel. You could do that. But I'm using this hard gel because it really hangs on to these bubbles. So I'm going to just grab a little bit, and I just do it as I go. You could put it on the whole nail, but then you have to put on all of the product. Now you can use a cuticle stick, a toothpick, any little pointy thing to get this on. I'm just using a brush at this particular moment. You know, I don't know where I'm going to put it. I'm going to use, maybe we'll put it right at the apex, like the biggest part. So again, just do it in patches. Don't do the whole thing because you want your beads to line up and be in certain positions. And if they fall, so if you're turning over and doing one side and it falls, you'll be bummed that you put all the gel on because you got to cure it, right? So just do it in patches. It really is the best. I did the other 4 last night, and that's probably the biggest rule that I learned. So I'm just putting a little dollop there. And then I'm going to move the gel out of the way for a bit. And I'm going to get my trays. Now I use the colored beads. Ooh, I just called them beads. I got a new name now, Caraman. We went from pearls to bubbles to beads. So
Actually,
I'm gonna.
bead sounds good, actually.
You know, bead sounds good, doesn't it? Obviously, it's a
yeah.
natural. But I say bead all the time because when I'm doing acrylic, right? So it just kind of rolls off the tongue. So I am going to use the white color, I think, because I did colors on all the other ones. So I'm just going to pour. I'm going to pour quite a bit because I want the baby ones there too. The baby ones sometimes settle. Sometimes I never know what I'm going to do when I do it. So sometimes I gather all the nail art. But I did grab my silvery things, and there's lots of things in there that I really like for this design. And I also grabbed my white caviar beads. So we're going to use the same dish, but I'm going to pour them over here. And I love caviar. These are the tiniest. I searched and searched till I find the tiniest. Apparently, they're super expensive. Nobody buys them, but I put them in my caviar collection because I really like the tiny ones. Now, I do want to have my gem jab. This is really crucial for this. If you don't have a gem jab, it makes it difficult. My gem jab has a pointy on one end and a wax tip on the other. And that wax tip helps you pick it up, and the pointy end helps you place it. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to grab, because it's a big finger, I'm going to grab a big pearl and just smack it right down there in the center. And I'm going to put the smaller ones around it. Now, I wouldn't put any of the caviar on yet because they sink in. Put them on after. Okay, then I'm going to get some other. I'm going to go a little bit smaller in there. Oops, that's too small. I think there's 4 sizes of my bubbles, pearls, now beads in one container. In one little glass jar, there's 4 different sizes of beads, maybe 5. I think it's 4. Ooh, that's pretty small. That's cute. Okay. I'm looking for more of that size. Oh, here we go. No, that's too small. Actually, I think I like that better. I like the super smaller ones on the sides better. That's a nice start. So then I'll just make sure, ooh, it's crooked. So I just looked at it at a different angle. That's the best way when you're doing nails. Look at it all sorts of angles. And it's totally crooked. So I'm just lining it up like this to make sure, and it's a little bit off. The whole thing is sort of shifted, so I'm just going to shift it a bit like that. I'm going to look at it again. Yep, I think I can live with that. This one might be a little. There. I like that. That looks good. Okay, so I can see some more gel on this side because I scooped the ones off I didn't like. So I could add, maybe I won't yet. Maybe I'll add some silver stuff in there. Yeah. I do try to match it on both sides just because of the symmetrical design I'm doing. But you couldn't. You could do like a kind of a curvy thing down the whole thing. You could do that. That'd be really cool. Maybe I should have done that for something different. The designs are endless, what you could think of. I'll try this silvery thing. I do like these. They're very cool. Maybe I'll put it this way. See how the pointy end is so handy? I like that. Okay, I need another one. Oopsie, it fell upside down. I'm gonna tuck it right in there. I like that. Okay, now there's no gel, really kind of a ton of it over here. There's a little bit there, but it's flat enough that I can work with that. Okay, I'm gonna nuke it. So what I'm doing is I can just give it like a little bit of a flash cure. Just make sure you don't cure up your gels. So I'm going to do a bit of a flash cure, like 5 or 10 seconds on this in particular, just to hold that in place. And then I will give it a final, at the very end, I'll just give it a full cure. Now you don't have to do this, but because I'm going to keep it somewhat symmetrical, I'm going to mirror the other side. Now, you don't have to use the thicker builder gel when you're not using the super big beads. You can just use a top coat. But I'm going to use the thick because I might go for some bigger beads. I'm not sure. I haven't decided. Okay, so I'm just going to gather another little clump. And again, you can use anything you want to get that in there. And I'm going to coax it up in over there. Now remember, wherever you put your gel, especially if you're doing it in a clump, you want to use it up or wipe it off before you cure. Now I should get more of a clump back here toward the cuticle because I really got to start doing something. So I'm going to focus on this side now. I'm going to paint the whole thing. So that means I've got to do this whole section. So see that, all that shiny stuff? I now have to put product. You don't have to, nothing has to be done, but for the best optimum workflow, do that, because if it's thick at all and you nuke it, then by the time you want to put more stuff on top of it, it's already hardened and you have to build on top and it's going to make your whole surface uneven. So you don't want to have too many layers of gel under there. Just going to make sure I cross the center line here a little bit because I do want to put something there, and if I don't get it on the opposite side, then it won't stick. Okay, so we do have these kind of bigger boomerang looking things. Oh, there's a bead stuck to that one. These are interesting little pieces. So I could do it maybe like that. I like that. That looks pretty, but I just gotta make sure it's super center. Now when you're doing it on a client, it is easier because you're receiving their hand like this and you can be quite centered. So because it's myself, I'm totally off. So I just need to check it every now and then and make sure that it is centered. Once you start your first piece completely centered, then everybody else can span out from there. But if you don't start that first piece centered, ooh, it's trouble. Now I'm gonna gather, I've got these little tiny beads that are in my silvery collection. You see that? See that? See that little bead? I love them. They can really add a lot of sparkle. I'm gonna put it right in the center of that. Okay, and then I'm going to add, I have no plan, you guys. I'm just messing around here. I just sort of start piling it on. I don't know if I can fit, that's too big. I'm gonna grab my really tiny brush. See this?
It's hard to say how small it is, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's it is really hard to tell how small it is because there's no comparison. See that tiny pearl on the table?
It looks huge on camera.
The pearl?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. That's the problem. Everything looks big when it's such a little tiny thing. So all I need to do is just get this little brush, just the very end, a little bit sticky with some gel. And then I can go in and pick up that really tiny bead and then place it right there. Can you even see that, Karen, man?
That bead even looks small on the camera. Really
yeah,
close.
that's the problem.
It's tiny.
It's hard to see. So I tend to do those after. Okay, so I do want to mirror these things on this side. Remember I did that? So I've got to get these little, I call them like little boomerangs. I've got to get these over here. How did I do that? Okay, so there's like a little pokey part in there. Yep. And then I have to get another one. And it's a little bit, oh, I know why. Because it's on the opposite side. Oh, there's a pearl in there I'm missing. That's what's throwing me off. And there's not one there. That's what it is. Okay. Okay. Yep. That's pretty good. That's pretty mirrored. I like that. Okay, so now I have to finish this side up, even though creatively I'm kind of don't know what I'm doing in there. So I have to figure it out though. I really do like these along the cuticle, I gotta say. So I think I might put more there. How? I don't know. That's pretty attractive. I think I'll do another one. Hope it lines up on the other side. Because, you know, fingers are not straight. So I could have less finger over there, less nail estate, right? Okay, that one's being stubborn. So I'm going to get my little tweezers. And I'm going to pick it up and put it on here. Then I'm going to get me pointy thing. And there we go. Yeah, let's hope that lines up over there. And that's really quite pretty, actually.
That's a neat pattern, actually, you got going there. I like where it's heading.
Yeah. It's beautiful by mistake.
Mistake?
Yeah, it is, because I didn't plan it. But that's the beauty of it, right? You just sort of just play around.
Right.
Okay, so let's put some bigger diamonds in there. I like these. Those are gorgeous. Okay, and I think I'm going to put some other ones on this side. Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to put them anymore there because I don't know what I'm going to do over here yet. Better figure this out. Okay, but I am going to put... Oh, I'm going to put one there. And one there. And one there. That's pretty. Now I think I will see this little tiny brush again. I'm going to bring it back in, get a little bit of tiny gel on there, and then I'm going to pick up, look how many beads I can pick up at once. I mean, these are super, super tiny. I'm going to smash them down in here, and I hope I like the look. Because I'm debating whether I might like it just clear, right? Maybe I'm ruining the symmetry of what I created by adding these. You won't know until you do it. Strain. I think that's good. Okay, now I do have these. I have not used them in this finger yet. These kind of like half moons. Let's just use one. Let's put it that way. See that? I just stuck it down there. I like that. Oh, I don't think I can fit that in there. It's too big. Too thing that. But I might be able to fit one of these smaller guys in there. Yep. I like that. Okay, so let's see if I can fit a diamond there, which I can. And sometimes I'll poke around in the dish. Sometimes they just fall on the shiny side down, and that's annoying because you really want to pick them up from the shiny side. Stick one in there. Okay, I think I can live with that. Now there's still some shiny stuff over here, so I really do have to deal with that, don't I? I'm gonna get some maybe baby pearls, like the tiny, tiny pearls. Sometimes the tiny pearls sink to the bottom because they're the smallest, of course. Just gonna load it up over here. Now I'm gonna stick a couple of, can I do that? Oh yeah, remember those silver balls that I like? Those things? I'm gonna stick a couple in there. Okay. Okay, let me look at it. Okay, I got one little spot I see that I'd like to just stick something in there. Just let me find a little bead. Just right there, I find it beadless or gemless and I don't like it. Okay, I'm gonna cure that now. And I'm just gonna do a flash cure on this one as well. I am gonna have some bigger beads down here, so I'm gonna use the thicker gel. Make sure I get enough of it. It just grips onto those beads really good. So I'm just gonna stay with a bigger bead, and then I'm gonna go to a smaller bead, and then I'm gonna go to the small ones. I think I'm gonna follow it right to the very edge. Oops, there's two in one there. Okay, now I just have to make sure that it's completely straight. Yep, that's pretty straight. So then I'm just going to get some more, I think, little beads. I like to sort of do the bigger beads down the center just to keep the nail high. If you do the bigger beads on the side, it makes the nails look wider. So I still like to keep the same type of shape for a nail. These are 3D, but I don't want to change it too much. Oops. See, I knocked that one out a little. Okay, I think I'm just going to beat it up all the way to the end. Okay, so I'm going to cure that. I'm going to do a flash cure actually. And then I'm going to mirror the other side. Then I'll show you a little trick that I'm going to do to really brighten it up. Okay, so that's really pretty. So what I do want though is to fill in between the pearls. Do you see that? See those little kind of, so this is what I can do. I will take my top coat, and you have two ways you can do this. You can just pick and choose, or you can paint it over the whole thing. So let's just move, I need this disc with these little caviar beads. Okay, I'm gonna put a dollop of top coat on my protective mat right here. This mat is great. When you are finished with this, you can clean this up with alcohol or acetone, and the mat will be brand new. I use it all the time. I use the same mat all the time. Okay, and I'm messy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, oh yeah, look at this little bit of dirt on there. I'm going to just clean my little brush, get all that stuff off there, and just dry it off a little bit. Then I'm going to take a little dollop of the top coat, and I'm going to put where I want. I'm going to put a little dollop right there, for example. Maybe one there. 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 And there. Then I'm going to try to pick up a single bead. I may need more. And you can just place it. Right in the spot where you put the dollop. These are so tiny, it just brightens it up just a tiny little bit. Oh, I forgot to put more, got too excited. I'm gonna put another, actually I see a big hole here. I'm gonna see if I can fit a pearl in there. Don't know if I can, but I'm gonna try. I don't think I can fit him in there. Okay, I can't. So I'm gonna fit some gems in there. Some caviar beads, I should clarify. So I'm just going to do it in all sorts of little places, in and out. And that's why you can paint over the whole thing and then let it settle in between and then put your caviar beads in there, but I don't think I'm going to do that. See how it just fills it in? Now you can be really symmetrical with this kind of look if you prefer. I mean, like I don't know, like a queen's quilt. You could be very, very specific on the beads line up with everything in between the puffs. Okay, now let me show you on the other side. Let's just paint over top of the whole thing. The end, I should say. The pearls here. We'll just paint some gel top coat right over top. Massage it in between. So the gel top coat really falls in there. And then you can get your beads and place them in.
That looks really cool.
It is so tiny. My eyes are getting really focusing on such close work. You really should look at distance every time you kind of do that. It's a good exercise for the eyes, but check out some distance if you're really working with close work all the time. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, now I'm going to give the thumb a full cure. I really like the delicateness of this. My favorite part is up in here. My least favorite part is this, to be honest. But it looks cool. It's very lacy looking. So now you have used a hard gel, a builder gel, a sculpting gel, whatever you want to call it. And it has a dispersion layer. If you're not top coating that completely over top of the whole thing, then you have a dispersion layer that's exposed. And we need to get rid of that. So all you need to do is just once it's finished, fully cured, just get some alcohol on a very thin lint-free pad and just dab it into, so you are making sure that alcohol is hitting that top layer of dispersion and you don't have any uncured gel on your finger. Now this end isn't so much concerned because we top coated that, but we only top coated on that side, I believe, not this side. So I'm just going to make sure that my alcohol gets in there and just removes that. Now, having said that, you could top coat this whole thing. I am not convinced that's what I want to do. If it's a low profile, like this part, I might consider that. But I find sometimes it can sort of give a nice top coat over top of the whole thing, but it's quite bumpy and it's just like water going over rocks. It's not quite as 3D. So you can do both ways. I just prefer to leave it open like this a little bit more detail. Top coat sometimes can help lose that detail. Okay, let's take a look at the reveal shots of all of them. They're so pretty. Okay, well, I'm gonna enjoy them for a while, and then the next video, I'm gonna show you how to get them off.